Did you know you have a 42% greater chance of accomplishing your goals just by writing them down?
Something I've learned in the yogic field is we're either thinking about the regrets of the past, the attachment of the present, or the fear of the future.
So what a lot of people don't see behind the scenes with a celebrity or with anybody that I work with is their mindset.
Trauma is stored in different aspects of our body. We need to first be aware of it.
And your body's your best gym ever, and it only expires when you stop.
And people don't understand why they're not getting the results because they haven't tapped into why they are the way they are.
It's the person in the mirror that you're looking to change. I always say regress to progress.
Because how you breathe is how you feel.
You have a choice each and every day, victor or victim. Which one are you going to choose?
What if I told you the man behind celebrity bodies like 50 Cent, J-Lo, and some of the world's most elite athletes is sitting right here with me today? And what if I told you the person who teaches CEOs and athletes to breathe, focus, and perform under pressure is right beside him? Yeah, this episode is that powerful. Hi, I'm Gaia Lewis, a board-certified integrative nutrition, health, and menopause coach, and the host of the Gaia Lewis podcast. This is the space where we talk about what's happening behind our hormones, from science to mindset to everyday stories that empower women to thrive during midlife. Today, I'm joined by Jay Cardiello, celebrity fitness trainer, Forbes-rated top 50 in his field, former coach to 50 Cent, J-Lo, Sofia Vergara, Kevin Love, and some of the world's biggest artists. And with him is Raj Trivedi, a meditation and breathwork expert who's trained multiple people, and he blends neuroscience with ancient practice and is known for helping high performers regulate stress and master their mind. Together, they're building training systems where strength meets stillness, where performance meets recovery, and where mind-body alignment isn't a luxury, it's the foundation. But here's what I'm really excited about, to know how we as normal women can build strength, energy, and confidence in a way that fits our school drop-offs, deadlines, hormones, midlife, and everything else life throws at us. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking today. Excited? I am. So let's dive in. Guys, I'm so happy to have you guys and talk about some things that women are always worried about: fitness and health and the six-pack abs.
Well, it's an honor to be here, and thank you for allowing us to come in.
Before, just to start in terms of, like I said, what women want to know, I want to know, before the titles and the clients, who are you?
Sure, I'll start off first. So I started off first as an athlete in the university level. And I always say I had the fortunate opportunity. I actually broke my spine, the tailbone, I cracked it in half. So I've had 15 major surgeries to put my body back together. So I had to learn to walk, had to learn to run again. And I was actually going to be a lawyer when that was my university studies, but I fell in love with the body. I started falling in love and I said, I need to serve as opposed to being served. So I started working at the university level as a coach, then went on to the National Football League in America, Major League Baseball, and then all the World Championship Boxing Series. I then started working with athletes and entertainers from 50 Cent to Kendall Jenner to J-Lo. And I was just very fortunate because it was a grind. I had to continue to work as hard as possible. I'm an author of 2 best-selling books. I had a TV show on our network series ABC in the United States. I am a TED Talker, and my TED Talk is called Why Diet and Exercise Makes You Fat. And so many people
I
are
heard that. It was really interesting.
So people are like, diet and exercise makes you fat. I'm like, yes, because it's all about mindset. So in 2013, my career really changed. I developed a behavioral intervention program to reduce chronic conditions associated with obesity. And we figured out why people do what they do in terms of overeating, obesity, addictions, post-traumatic stress, and depression. And people always ask, well, how did you know that? You didn't go to university for that. I looked within. I'm a survivor of sexual abuse. From ages 6 to 9, I was sexually abused. I was bankrupt one time. I was homeless. I went through a major divorce. So if I can resurrect and fix myself, I said, hey, I have something where I can help others. Because in essence, you have to create rapport with people. To understand people, you must go through. So I took pen to paper, wrote the program, and then implemented it into the Mount Sinai hospital systems in New York City. Then it just blew up, and we started going to drug and alcohol rehab facilities, into corporate wellness. And then from there, we actually met Oz and Christy, who were the founders of Kylo Nutrition. And I was always looking for a home for the program. And I said, if we can help people in the United States, we can help people worldwide. Over 1,000 people since its origin have gone through the program. And what the program is a 12-week behavioral intervention program where you learn mind strategies to become the best version of yourself. And one of the biggest things that we focus on is childhood trauma. We've all suffered. You know, I've suffered at the major level, but we've been bullied, picked on. Our parents may have told us, no, you can't do this. And that has sat in our subconscious for many years. And people go through life and they say, I can't do this. And then what happens right before you perish, you ask, what if? So my job and Raj's job is to really give people the opportunity never to have to ask what if and to live their best, greatest life ever.
Wow. I mean, I can if Netflix hears this, there's a movie or documentary going to happen 100% based on your life. Raj, moving on to you.
Sure. Jay's story is incredible. And my story is like this. See, my background was I've been doing digital marketing for over a decade. And my whole thing is all about connection, right? Connecting with myself, but also helping others connect with other people to grow their businesses. And things really shifted for me during the pandemic, because that's where I got to a point where I was really reflecting back on what do I want to do with my life? You know, my whole life, I always wanted to be a mentor, teacher, or coach, but trying to figure out and navigate what direction to go to. You know, very blessed to work with so many different companies in the digital marketing space, whether it be athletes, top trainers, people in different spaces, whether it be luxury real estate, you know, hospitals, you know, top Fortune 500 companies. But I wanted to figure out, you know, where can I have the biggest impact? That's always a question I'm always asking myself. Where can I have the biggest impact in this world? What is my purpose? And I feel like the pandemic shifted everything for everybody. You know, it gave them time to slow things down, to really go back inwards to figure out what is something that they want to do in their life. And for me, I made a drastic change to leave the company on great terms to start my own business in the health and wellness space. I was already working on myself. And my background was, you know, being an Indian guy. I've always been skinny my whole life, and I was trying to gain weight and muscle. That was my story. You know, I just want to be strong and fit. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to leave this company to start my own coaching business to help people in that space, because I can be relatable, and because that's my story and my mission. And that's where I started to interview people from our network. You know, very blessed to have great connections, whether it be top fitness trainers and athletes just from our circle. And that's how I connected with Jay. You know, he's the second person I interviewed right in New York City. And that's where things just took to another level, because a lot of Jay's clients were all in person. He's worked with so many amazing people, very humble, doesn't even like to speak about himself, right? Even the celebrity aspect. As a marketing person, I'm like, dude, we got to keep going with the celebrity stuff. But his mindset is incredible, very humble. He views everybody as a celebrity. And we just built a strong connection, rapport right from the jump. And we took both of our skill sets and really blew it up to everybody around the world. You know, we have a strong following with people on social media, and we started implementing this 12-week program, this behavioral fitness program, implementing his mindset skills with my background in yoga, meditation, and breathwork, and really infusing the best of both worlds to really have a big impact with everybody around the world. And it's been quite the ride.
Okay. He said he was always into sports and, you know, athlete. Was breathwork, yoga always part of your lifestyle, or something that you accidentally, you know, stumbled upon?
Yeah, great question. It's something that I knew I had to connect with, because my whole life I've always been an anxious person. You know, I've always wanted to know what's going on. If I didn't, the unknown really scared me. And I would just I noticed, my breath wasn't right, very shallow. I'd be very anxious and nervous with everything that I did. I knew that's something I needed to improve on. And when I took my first yoga class, that's when everything just shifted, because the way I felt after the class was surreal, because I was truly connected with myself, my breath, my body, and it really helped me be in the present moment. And that's where I feel as if everything shifted, because there's so much stress that we go through in our life, right? We're either in three different stages, is something I've learned in the yogic field, is we're either thinking about the regrets of the past, the attachment of the present, or the fear of the future. And once we live in those three different realms, we're not here in the now. And I knew that's where I was, right? I always wanted to know about what was going to happen in the future. And that's what made me realize I need to shift that within me. And I started taking more yoga classes. I started getting back to my roots, because my parents, my mom's side, back in India, her grandfather and father were deep into yoga and meditation back in the 60s, right? And it was maybe not as common in the States during that time, but it made me realize more and more to get back to my roots, something that I didn't want to lose, because I didn't really practice it growing up, but throughout my journey, I wanted to get back to where it all started. And I'm grateful that I was.
Brilliant. You've worked with celebrities. You've had your share of, working with very well-known people as well. What does it, people generally associate celebrity bodies or, the fitness regime with being very disciplined. But what's the part nobody sees? What's the real driver behind are there any sustainable habits that they follow that helps them maintain despite having an extremely hectic schedule?
One of the biggest things that we've seen is the mindset. See, we all know how to get in shape. You eat healthy, you go for a walk, you exercise. But how do you create consistency and sustainable outcomes? You need to change your habits. And that's one of the biggest things. And that's where I mentioned before, we never want to give people the opportunity to ask what if. Right before we perish, so many of us will say, what if I would have worked out? What if I would have been healthier? What if I would have spent more time with my family? What if I would have had a different partner or a different career? So we want to afford people the opportunity to say, yes, I can. So what a lot of people don't see behind the scenes with a celebrity or with anybody that I work with is their mindset. And we start with first pen and paper. Did you know you have a 42% greater chance of accomplishing your goals just by writing them down? And that's what I do. I first have them write out their goals. So it gives them a roadmap. Then what we do is we say, what would be the perfect situation or the perfect picture that you want to image of yourself? And we have them draw it out or take a picture or show me a picture. So what we do is we create that in the mind to say, yes, I can. And we start focusing on that. So I have rules that I work with when I work with clientele. Number one is if you don't get 6 hours of sleep, you're not coming to the gym to see me. So we have 4 pillars of fitness, which is sleep, stress, nutrition, and the least most important part is fitness. People think, Jay, you're a fitness person. Why do you say that? Because it all starts with sleep. And we focus on sleep, so important, because that's where your body recovers. That's where your body grows. And that's, in essence, if you don't sleep well, you know what happens. You get stressed and then you make poor food decisions and you say, no, I don't want to work out. So what I do first is we work on sleep. Then we work on our mindset to decrease the stress. Then we implement the nutrition. And lastly, we implement fitness. And that could be like you've experienced, just 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And when you say 20 minutes, what can I do in 20 minutes? You can do a lot. And your body's your best gym ever. And it only expires when you stop.
Yeah, I think it's spot on, because it's one of the best things I've learned with Jay is that he's all about his habits, right? And his routines. And, and every time we travel, I see how he starts his morning. I see how he ends his day, right? It's never different, right? It's always the right routines, right? He's stuck with it. And that's why I was like, this is why he's successful, right? He has a standard for himself and he doesn't budge. No matter if he's lacking sleep, he'll wake up, he'll do his morning cantations. And that is what I feel is a secret to success, because the habits, right, truly create your character. And I feel that your character will create your destiny, right? So it does start with the habits and the behavioral aspect, because we've seen it so many times. Clients come to us saying, I lost 30 pounds and then I gained it right back. Right. And we hear it so many times. People get the results, but then they just go back to their old selves, right? It's because they're lacking motivation. They're lacking discipline. And that is the secret of the success, because the thing that we build on is by building habits every single day. Small habits, right? You need to do small habits every single day. Everyone wants a quick pill to get the results. But if you don't build on the foundation, I think that's what I love about Jay is the foundation. Once you get that foundation set, everything else will work out.
Fantastic. You mentioned something. You asked your clients, what is the ultimate goal? What do they want to look like? Any images, any pictures that they can share? With social media now, there is so much pressure in people in how they perceive themselves they should look like, right? Sometimes it's not realistic. How do you then work with women especially? Yeah, because I'm saying I'm a women wellness coach. And I want to know more on when women kind of see, fitness models on magazines or on social media with like six-pack abs, and it's not. I'm not saying it's not physically possible, but women go through a lot of changes in the body to be able to get the six-pack abs, and sometimes it's not really healthy because your hormones really have a big imbalance.
Of course.
How do you then coach women or try to help them understand that this is great, but let's have a realistic view? Do you work on that?
Of course we do. And that starts with the mindset. But we have to understand people on social media don't post the struggle, the grind. They only post the result. People don't see that LeBron James or the people that I've worked with, the struggles that they've gone through to get to the point. I wish more people posted the grind and the hard and the giving up and the failures, as opposed to so much, look at me, here I am today. One of the biggest things, it's you versus you. And this is universal for everybody. It's the person in the mirror that you're looking to change, not the person on that Instagram that you follow, not the person who you like the comments on. It's you in that mirror. And that's what we have to understand, is that you get one chance to go through life, and it's you versus you each and every day. And I always ask my clients and anybody that I work with, you have a choice each and every day, victor or victim. Which one are you going to choose? And you hear so many people say victor. So have victory within yourself. Celebrate yourself more. I always tell people the difference between a celebrity and an average person is that the celebrity is celebrated. We only celebrate ourselves once a year with a birthday, and some people may celebrate for a month or so, but we need to celebrate ourselves more. Celebrate your little goals, celebrate your small wins, but also celebrate your losses because they are lessons. So to really answer your questions, I always say, look at the person in the mirror, because that should be your best friend, your confidant, and someone that you're employing to be the best version of yourself.
I mean, you have great motivational speaker qualities, I must say. Sitting here, I am motivated today. But again, I want to go back. It's easier said than done, is what I would say.
Of course.
And especially now with a lot of drugs available in the market, which are promoting weight loss. And people are taking that because that's the easy pill, right?
Of course.
Then trying to do the hard work. Again, how do you make people understand that you could use, if you needed, as a support system, but then still look at your lifestyle, make sure that you work out to maintain muscle mass? Do you as a fitness trainer in the wellness realm get irritated with the noise that these medications are creating and how people are falling prey to them?
It's interesting because, Raj and I talk about this a lot with the fast track to weight loss success with these drugs that are out there today. But it's a fast track. What we teach and what I teach to my clientele, and just like Raj does, is we teach lessons, because there's two kinds of things that we always talked about. We talk about controlled suffering and uncontrolled suffering. See, uncontrolled suffering is when the stress of the world comes up and it beats you down. But what we teach and what we say to people is that we need more controlled suffering, the working out, the dieting, the sleep, the things that people don't celebrate enough. When the uncontrolled suffering hits you, you have an opportunity to succeed. So with the noise that is making out there with the medical advantages to quick weight loss and the track to get there, It all starts within, and we have to understand that it's a slow process. See, we see and that's when social media, in a sense, is really hurting this, because people are seeing the results and not the grind. And we forgot about that. That's why, we were talking and joking. We were happy that we didn't grow up with social media. I grew up in the 70s where I didn't have social media. And what we did is we worked, and not worked hard. We worked smart. We worked, in essence, through the difficult times. We learned, we reached out. My father always said, your greatest strengths are arm's length. You reach out to people for support. And I always tell people we are the average of the 5 people we hang out with the most. So if you really want to make change, look at your circle and who's supporting you and who's around you, as opposed to looking at what weight loss drug can affect me the most to get me to my result faster.
Yeah.
Look within. What are my goals? How am I writing them down? In essence, you need to look within so you can get the results on the out. We always talk about this. People work out. With us, you work in.
Yeah, but we're living in an instant gratification world. We don't have the time to wait for results. Again, like I said, me as a lifestyle coach, I'm a wellness coach, right? Again, I work on the 3 pillars. I'm like, it takes time. You can't change all the bad things that you've done to your body immediately. So, but people are like, I don't have the time. I'll rather go in for something which is quicker. So that's why I say, in this world of instant gratification where something takes time, people don't have the time.
Yeah, it's to me, I can understand the frustration, because people are faced with, taking care of themselves, taking care of their children, taking care of their partner, their spouse, whatever it is. But we have to understand, and what we teach in our program is very interesting. We teach people to set boundaries with themselves and with others. And then we teach people the art of saying no, because that's one of the most powerful words that we have in the language, is saying no. Saying no to when someone comes up to you and says, can you help me? No, I need to work on myself more. Saying no to when your partner or spouse needs something, but you really need to look within and work on yourself. So we always think about working in as opposed to the working out. And I know people want that instant gratification because it's so basically sent that message to with social media. But let's, in a sense, take a break from that and really focus on the mirror. Because I always give the analogy of a marathon. You can't run a marathon without any training. But people expect to lose weight without any training. And I'm not talking about the physicality, I'm talking about the mental. And with the process of a marathon, it's one step at a time. You walk or run 1 mile 1 week, and then you add on, and then you do a little more, and you push yourself a little more. And after X amount of months or a year of your training, you're able to complete a marathon. Life is a marathon, and it's not a sprint. And so many people are attempting to run to the finish line, but when they get there, they have trouble crossing it because they didn't work within.
And you work a lot on the mindset aspect, right? In terms of, you work with people on the whole mindset, training them to stop, breathe, be in the present. How do you feel that the social media is affecting people? Because, they don't have even that, the minute to be in a place.
It's a great point. With my background in digital marketing, there's 2 similarities that I've learned when it comes to digital marketing and wellness. Is that it's all about branding and identity, right? When it comes to businesses, they're trying to figure out what their brand identity is, right? What their mission and purpose is. Same thing when it goes to individuals. And when it comes to social media, it's very interesting because when you talk about the instant gratification, right? There's many levels we want to unpack when it comes to this. One of the things I wanted to mention is that if you want the quickest results, right? People hire Jay and I, and what we do is because we get results for our clients. And the way we get results for our clients is by getting to the root cause. Because when it comes to root cause, everybody throughout their life, they have different trauma that's been going on, different situations. We've seen it all across the board. And people don't understand why they're not getting the results because they haven't tapped into why they are the way they are. Right. So we try to figure out what that is in the beginning. And I'll love Jay to talk about that too, because that's the week 1 is the unloved letter. And I'll love Jay to talk about that aspect, because that is where we set the foundation, right? When Jay talks about diet and exercise, not that important, because we need to get to the root cause of why they're doing what they're doing, right? Self-sabotaging. And that's how you get the quickest results, by eliminating that, right? Because trauma is stored in different parts of our body, right? Many women we work with have back pain. They're doing a lot for the family. They're holding on to the foundation. They don't understand why their back hurts, why they have arthritis, shoulder pain. Trauma is stored in different aspects of our body, and we need to first be aware of it, right? That's where the meditation and the breath work comes from, is it's understanding first with the awareness of our body, right? Not just trying to get a quick fix for it, but understanding what is really going on internally. As Jay mentioned, it's not a workout. It might feel like a workout with everything we teach, but this is all about going within. You need to first be comfortable going within, right? And many people are not, because as social media, the attention span is very small,
Yeah.
right? And it's scary that when kids are on it at a young age. And it's amazing to hear stories with people in the UAE, how they there's age restrictions for it. In the US, I don't think there is, and that's unfortunate. But it starts at such an early age, the childhood trauma and things that are going on. And social media is not helping with that aspect. But to get back to the trauma, we need to first identify what's going on internally to really get them the best results possible. And I'll love Jay to even talk about that foundation of week 1 in our program, because that's what sets the tone. And then the weight drops like this. People get results so quickly, which is what they want, but they need to first identify what that trauma is within themselves.
Okay. Tell us about the week 1 now.
So week 1 is very interesting. It's, as Raj mentioned, it's really getting to the root cause of why we do what we do. And we ask people to write what we call an unloved letter. We've all written love letters before, received love letters, and it's a beautiful thing, and you curate it to your partner or spouse or whoever it may be. But an unloved letter, we have the people either write to themselves, their spouse or partner, their parents, their food of choice or their drug of choice. And when they write it, we want it not written on a computer, typed in on the computer. We want it handwritten. And then we have them read it out loud. And you see the tears coming down the face. And you see people getting almost emotionally sick because it's been so stored in our subconscious. When I wrote my unloved letter, I wrote it to my abuser. And it was a very hard thing for me to do. But after doing it, I felt released. But here's one of the things: we don't just leave them there. We have them write a thank you letter. See, we all thank people for the good they give us, but we don't thank people for the bad. I wouldn't be the man I am today, the son I am today, the father, the friend. I wouldn't be that person without being abused. So we must thank people not only for the good, but the hard times they put us through. So week 1 is a very pivotal moment, because at that point, we're unleashing all the trauma that's been out and we're letting it go. And I want to state this out. We had a university in the States called Emory University. They actually did research and data on our program. And they found that we had a 57 to 60% retention rate at year 1 for people with weight loss and getting off drugs and alcohol. Because we focus on the root cause of why people do what they do, as opposed to saying, we're just going to work out and work on this and this. We say, no, we're working in.
Yeah. Fantastic. You mentioned about, when people, after the first week, when they've identified the root cause and they're working, and then weight starts dropping. I'm going to talk about midlife and women. That's one phase in our life when a lot of things don't work as per your plan. Yeah, because the body and the hormones have their own little story that they're like, I'm going to orchestrate, how you're going to work. Maybe today you're going to be happy, tomorrow you're going to cry, maybe the next second I'm going to be laughing, whatever, things happen. And at this time, weight loss is one of the biggest challenges women face. Our darling estrogen is not there. Belly fat kind of clings on to us, dear life. Do you see that women, even after identifying the root cause during midlife, can still work towards being able to maintain or reduce their weight at that time?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the biggest things when it comes to women in that age, they're dealing with a lot of imbalance,
Mm.
right? And we want to get them right back in that balance. And it starts with identifying how we can get them in that state, right? And that's where, when it comes to the breath work that I do, it helps them with the different, like the weight is one aspect to it, but when it comes to their emotions, that's what we want to really deal with
Yeah.
first, the mind, as Jay was mentioning. Because once we can master the mind, that's when we can get them in a better state of balance, right? There's many things that people are dealing with when it comes to the mood swings, as you mentioned. How do we get them back to that state? Because how you breathe is how you feel, right? And that's the biggest part that we teach, is getting them in that balanced state. People don't understand the proper ways to breathe, right? People don't understand that the posture makes a huge difference in how you feel and how you breathe. So we start with that foundation, is getting them in that right posture, the right alignment, because that's super important. And the diaphragmatic breathing is where we start, because a lot of people, when I tell them to put their right hand on their chest, left hand on their lower belly, and just breathe normally, a lot of them are noticing that their chest rising with every inhale. And that's not the proper way to breathe. We want to breathe deeper, down under the belly button, because you want that stomach to expand like a balloon, right? So we're really envisioning and breathing deeper. And what we tell our clients, that you're inhaling with your nose, and you want to imagine as if your nostrils are down by your belly button. And when you're inhaling, that's where you're breathing from. And that visual aspect makes all the difference, right? Because once you start doing that, you start activating the parasympathetic nervous system, right? Because the nervous system is very important. It's our communication system, right? We have the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. And many of them are in that stress mode. But if we can slow things down properly, that's when we can get them to their true state. And that is what our goal is. The weight loss, then they can maintain that weight loss, to your question. And that's essentially extremely important. But if we don't get them in that balanced state, everything we do is not going to work at that level.
Another issue that women generally face is that lack of time. Yeah. Because with so many things that we are balancing, but not as an excuse, but genuinely, life is busy. How would you explain to a lady at that time to focus on her health? And because it's important, if she doesn't focus on her right now, the later years are going to be more difficult. So how do you help with people, or creating that mindset of self-care at this time being very important?
Sure, time is our greatest currency. And so many of us lack that currency because we feel like we don't have enough time. I don't have time to eat right. I don't have time. I'm taking care of everybody else except for myself. Raj and I give them the analogy of when you hit turbulence or the air pressure changes, the air mass falls down. Who do you put it on first?
Yourself.
You put it on yourself first. You are the most important person in your life. And that's what we teach, is that you are the most important person in your life. So we start with boundaries, as I mentioned, the art of saying no, as I mentioned. And then we implement things like you can stand on one leg while brushing your teeth. You work on your core. You can wear red clothing, which is chromotherapy, when you're tired and you feel like you can't go for that walk. Red actually increases prowess and confidence. So we're teaching science to them that is very easy to implement, because we all don't have time. And then what happens is we run out of time, and then we ask, what if? So we ask people to dedicate 1 minute to yourself a day and start with having gratitude. We teach people morning rituals, and that's one of the most important things. How you start your day is how you win your day. So when we start with a person who says, I don't have enough time, all I want you to do before your feet hit the floor when you get out of bed is say thank you. To the universe, to a higher power, whoever it may be, say thank you for giving me and providing me another day. Because gratitude, anxiety, frustration, they can't simultaneously reside in the mind at the same time. So having gratitude is where we start, and that takes about 1 minute.
We spoke of 1 minute, but what if they have 20 minutes a day? Now imagine they can take out 20 minutes in a day. What would your advice be of how that 20 minutes should look like?
Yeah, great question. So I'll say that in two different parts to it, because there's a physical aspect to it, and then there's an emotional, mental aspect to it. What we teach our clients, especially busy women, right, that are dealing with just life, right, stresses of life, family, work, and just trying to make it all work, is that many of them are overthinkers. right? The mind just never
Yeah.
stops, right? Many women are dealing with that aspect to it. And we understand the thoughts create your feelings create your actions, right? We understand that. Get to the habits and your character at the end of the day. So how do we focus on our thoughts? What we have them do is focus right back to that heart center. So we go through like a love meditation, a heart-centered meditation, really have them slow down, whether they're laying on their backs or they're sitting, in a comfortable seat. Focus their attention on their heart, right? Because you focus on your breath or your heart. But for this, we focus them on their heart. Have them first feel that heartbeat. And then we had them visualize this. Visualize like as if they're looking into a loved one's eyes. Really feel that in their heart. It could be a pet, it could be a spouse, doesn't matter what it is. Get them to feel those emotions. And then we want to start to radiate that energy, right? Because health is all about energy, right? And getting to that state of how you feel. So once you can feel that love in your heart, we have them start to feel that in every cell of their body, just vibrating with that love. And then we have them radiate that out into the entire room and then to the entire world. And that just sets the tone of how you feel and how you move in your world. So if you have 5 minutes, 20 minutes, doesn't even take long, right? It could be done in 1 minute. Just take this moment to pause, to slow down, reconnect back to your heart center, and start with this. Because once you get to that feeling, everything else will change, right? Your thoughts are going to change. How you move is going to change. And that's how we try to empower the women, right? Is getting back to themselves, coming back home to themselves. Because a lot of them lose track after they have kids. They just go back to their habits. And that is what we want to shift is like, you need to be good. Because if you're not good, it's going to drip into your family. And that just ruins the whole foundation. It needs to start with you. And the self-love, that's how we go about it.
Okay. Brilliant. While you were saying that, it just came to my head that, women, I always say, have this rushing women syndrome because they're trying to rush,
Right.
trying to achieve 20,000 things. And we want to be the
Yeah.
best at everything. I call ourselves superwomen.
Yeah.
We can't take another title. We cannot take the number 2 position. It's not possible. We have to be the best at everything. And it creates a lot of pressure, like self-pressure. And then I think trying to work and understand how your body, or what your body's talking and what the signals it's giving, and understanding that is very key. But again, why I'm saying, coming back to this is that social media again, because of the noise. Earlier you had an issue, you would go probably refer a book, or you would go to a doctor or meet an expert. But now you've got ChatGPT and you've got social media, right? And there's so much noise there. And the whole noise now is, even if you're tired, whatever you are, you still have to do your strength training because you are in your mid 40s. Sarcopenia is there if you don't work out, and so you've got to build muscle. So a lot of women I see go to the gym even though they are tired, like really exhausted. And I try to tell them that it's not going to help you because you're in a stress state and your cortisol is already high. Body's not going to do anything. That's not going to do anything good to you. I just want the message from you guys as experts in this field to reiterate whether what I'm saying is correct or you have another different angle to it completely.
You are 100% right. We don't invest more in ourselves. People are tired and they're going to the gym, and we see this thing, we the 5 a.m. club. Well, I wake up at 4:30. Well, I wake up at 4. Well, there's a challenge, everything is, we have to do more. We have to do less. I always say regress to progress. Go back to being a child and make life fun again. Focus on sleep. Sleep is so overlooked. It's talked about a lot now, but it's still overlooked because if you sleep a lot, you're considered lazy or not going after your goals. Raj and I make sure we're getting 7 to 9 hours a night. And that means going to bed at 8:30 because at that time we shut off. And that's what we teach people, is to shut off and tune in. So when you think about wanting to go to the gym, but I'm really tired, you know what? Maybe you should listen to your body, because you can't drive a car if it doesn't have fuel. How can you drive yourself if the fuel level is low?
Yeah. What's your opinion? Do you meet similar?
100%.
Yeah.
And I think Jay hit it on the nail. You have to listen to yourself and your body. If they think this is what I should do, I need to go to the gym every single day for whatever time period, and that they're just trying to hit that mark. Yeah, routines are important, but if you're not listening to yourself, how you emotionally feel, how you internally feel, you're running on E, right? So you need to be able to fuel yourself. And how do you recharge yourself? I think everybody needs to understand, how do they recharge themselves? It goes to slowing down, right? People think you need to do so much more, and especially here in Dubai, it's so interesting how everybody's in just go, go, go
Yeah.
mode, right? And I love that fire, because it's just amazing to see what everyone has built. But if you don't, people think slowing down is just going back, right? You're just wasting time. But people don't understand, recharging is so important. And that present moment is so important, right? By being able to ground, right? We don't ground ourselves enough. We don't feel the feet on the ground. We don't feel the weight of our body on our chair. We're not in tune with what's going on in this moment, because our mind is just elsewhere, thinking about the kids, thinking about our husband, thinking about everything else, work, emails, besides ourselves. So the biggest thing I can say is just slow down for a moment. Just connect to your breath. Tune into how you feel in this moment and what you can do to recharge yourself. And a lot of it is with the breath, because the breath can instantly change how you feel, right? Slow, deep breaths. A lot of times we get with our clients that they have trouble sleeping, right? They're exhausted, but they just can't sleep, and they just sleep sometimes so tight, right? Their jaw is just tight. They never fully understand how to surrender completely, right? And that's what we try to teach people, is how to properly breathe and how to fully let go. And that is where the magic happens.
Yeah. You spoke about your 12-week transformation program. You spoke about the first week, but what does the remaining 11 weeks look like? Is there a structured program in terms of, you got certain days of strength training, certain days of rest, recovery, stretching? How does the 11 weeks look like?
Sure. So the rest of the program, what we do is we have 4 coaches. We have a dietitian, we have Raj, who's the breathwork and yoga, myself, which is the mindset behavioral coach, and then we have an NLP practitioner. And I meet with the person every week, and we have anywhere from a half hour, we've had up to 3-hour sessions, because when you're getting that breakthrough, you can't say, oh, time's up, we have to go now. So we really look for that breakthrough. But each week we learn different strategies. So like week 1 is the unloved letter. The next week is the art of saying no. The next week is your circle of trust, and that's very imperative. That's the circle of friends that are in family that are around you. And that's why I said earlier, we are the average of the 5 people we hang out with the most. And in terms of the diet, it's a personalized program. So when you meet with the dietitian, we look what's best for you to get the nutrients, the proper nutrients in your body to help you achieve your goals, but also to have your body running at optimal level. And if you're missing sleep, we implement the sleep. And then when it comes to working out, it's very interesting. Your body's the best gym you have. It only expires when you stop.
Yeah.
And we work out just 4 times a week for 20 minutes. Now, if someone's coming to us and they're on the couch and they never worked out before, we leave them on the couch and we create rapport by meeting them on the couch. So we won't implement the workout first week. We may say, for your next week, you're going to walk for 1 minute in place. The next week, you're going to go 2 minutes in place, because it's really about the mindset. We all think about this. We all want, to achieve those goals. And as we mentioned earlier with social media, we want it fast. But if you want to create sustainable outcomes, it's changing your habits, it's working on your routines, and it's celebrating the life that you were so preciously given.
Fantastic. I have to ask, you both are in the fitness health realm. I don't see you wearing any tracker, where everyone nowadays is tracking their steps to their sleep to, their fitness. Why do you not wear any tracker?
Yeah, that's a good question. I do have a tracker. I'm not wearing it at the moment, but I think it's very important to look at the analytics aspect of it. Jay wears a ring as well as a wrist tracker. For me, it's important to wear one if you're looking at the right metrics, right? Whether it be the heart rate. I know when I practice yoga and I'm looking to improve myself in different aspects, I'm looking at what my heart rate is. How can I slow things down? Where am I optimal? Where am I not optimal? So yeah, I think it's important. If anyone's looking to improve themselves, 100% have some sort of tracker, because that's how you measure any results at the end of the day, right? So for me, it's something that I need to make it more of a habit. Absolutely, right? And I think it's important that everyone does have that, or else you're just going off on, just going with the flow,
Yeah.
right? And that's not how you're going to get better every single day.
So you believe that, yeah,
I
you
do
got a
believe,
track.
yeah, I'm a
Okay.
big believer in the tracker because that's how you improve yourself, and that's how I started my journey too, is by tracking what I eat, right? When I was in a mission to gain my weight and muscle, right? That was where what I wanted to do. So I needed to track my calorie intake. What does my proteins, fats, carbs look like? And if you're not tracking that, you're not consistent with it, you're gonna go off the rails.
You spoke about food, and my eyes light up when anybody mentions food. The whole protein, again, one more big fuss word nowadays is protein. Eat protein, eat protein, eat protein. Make sure you get 2 grams per body weight protein. And in that whole thing, people have stopped enjoying what they eat. Have you seen that in people that you meet?
We see that because of the programs that they've previously implemented into their lives. You read a magazine or a book, but it's made for the general public. What we always say is that you should get your blood work done first. Your blood is the roadmap to your body. It will tell you what supplements you need. It'll tell you what almost diet you'll need. And in essence, it'll tell you a lot bit about if you're getting enough sleep, if your cortisol levels are high, if your adrenals are shot. So the blood work is a roadmap to the body. So we say it's quintessential. It's the most imperative thing. If you can, get your blood work done, and not just getting your cholesterol checked, really get your cortisol levels checked, really get your adrenals. Now, regressing back to the food, when we think about diet, we think about deprivation. We don't teach diet. We teach adding in fruits and vegetables, making your plate colorful, giving your food a hand. Carbs are a fist, proteins are no bigger than your palm in thickness, and then fruits and vegetables are 2 fists. So we think about celebrating and making food an enjoyable process as opposed to I have to watch, I have to restrict. Because if you really think about it, when you focus, as I'm going to regress back to this one again, when you focus on your mind first and you start to feel good about yourself first and you start to fall really in love with you, you're not going to want to make poor choices. Because generally speaking, we treat a lot of people better than we treat ourselves. We talk very negatively to yourselves. And I always tell people, you wouldn't hang out with a friend who talks to you the way you talk to you. Never. I would never do that. So why are you doing it to yourself?
Yeah, it's an amazing question, but I have to ask you: in every 10 people that you meet, how many people are actually wanting to do something for their health?
Yeah, it's interesting. When it comes to that, a lot of them want to do it, but they just don't do it, right? And that comes to the question, like, why are they not doing what they want to do? It's a mixture between of what their lifestyle is, right? They're not eating the proper foods and they're not having the right movement in their life, right? They don't have the proper sleep. And we wonder, why are they the way they are? Because a lot of people right nowadays are just seeking pleasure, right? These quick fixes, very comfortable in their lifestyle. That's why everybody wants those quick fixes, right? Nobody wants to do the hard work. That's why it really takes some sort of significant, life event or something for them to be like, I need to change my life now. But if they don't have that, they're just so comfortable in the way they are. So when you say 1 out of, how many people out of 10, it really depends. There might be 3 of them that are like ready because they had that event in their life, whether they had their mom just die with, had a heart attack and has high cholesterol. And they're like, whoa, I don't want this, right? They have some sort of event that happened so close to home, which made them realize I need to change this. Usually when people have kids, they start to change themselves because they start to realize you're living for something beyond yourself, right? And I know a lot of the women that listen to this can relate to that, right? So sometimes you need that additional motivation, but you need to find that within yourself, right? Because if you're consistently looking for something outside, and it may not happen, but you need to also connect with something on a higher level to see those results and to have that motivation to get to that discipline to change your life, because then everything else will change.
Yeah, because like you mentioned, I think we all need that wake up call.
Yeah.
But sometimes the wake up call is also too late.
Yeah.
We don't believe in prevention. It's always
Right.
after we see the blood works and we're like, oh shit, now what can I do? Again, the first thing is a pill. Go to the doctor. What can you prescribe? And then I'll take that. I still feel, the lifestyle only comes when there's like a big major wake up call in someone's life.
You are right about that. I want to talk personally. I lost my father about 30 years ago. He died of a heart attack because of the life he chose. He was a smoker, but he also ate a lot of fast food. And because he was always on the go, always working, and always providing for the family. And it was at that time, as Raj mentioned, that's when my mom said, enough is enough for me. And she started looking within and changing. We never want people to think about that, having that dramatic life change. So what we do is we prehab before we rehab. And what I mean by prehab is start doing arm circles for 10 seconds. Make a choice to eat an apple. Make a choice to drink half a glass of water and add that in as you go on throughout the week. Small changes create big results. So I saw firsthand a personal experience of what my mother changed from the dramatic life thing that my father happened to my father. I just wish that my father would have realized that he was not only hurting himself, but he was hurting those around him.
Mm.
And that's one thing we have to understand is we are a community and we're all attached. Humanity is all attached. And how we change ourselves has a big impact on how we change the results of others.
Well said, well said. I also wanted to ask you, again, you're in the health industry. You see the whole supplement industry, it's booming. Everyone creates a supplement saying, you take this, it'll help you, and because it's not fully controlled, right? What's your take on people popping supplements like candy and hoping that that will do the magic?
Yeah, supplements are interesting, and I think it comes down to that foundation of everyone is unique, right? So as Jay mentioned, the blood work is so important, right? I think it starts with that. If you don't get blood work done, you don't know where your deficiencies are, whether it be vitamins, minerals, anything that you're lacking. That's the number one step, right? I could say take vitamin D3, K2, and all these different things that we take. But everybody's body is different. So it's understanding where you're lacking the most, and that's where you want to supplement the most, right? And that's probably the biggest thing, because prevention is way better than cure, right? As you talked about, we need to be able to understand what is unique to us in our body, because genetics play a huge factor. So instead of me saying you should take this type of protein powder or whatever it is, you need to get that foundation with your blood work done. That's how we started the 12-week program, is by getting the blood work, analyzing the blood work, and then giving the proper plans. And we're so lucky to have a dietitian in our team here, and they can really help cater towards that. So understanding what your body needs, because plant-based protein might be way better than whey protein, right? So it's very important to get that foundation right, and then we can set the tone of what is best for you and your body.
And I want to add on to that, if you don't mind. Your refrigerator is your medicine cabinet. Food is medicine. And we have to understand, and we think about going into the bathroom and open the medicine cabinet. The medicine cabinet happens with the food. What is in your food is what's under your shirt. And we have to realize that.
Very well said. I mean, like I said, I always love my cooking. My kitchen is my area. And I always tell people, look at your plate, make sure it's got the colors. All the micronutrients are right there. You don't need to supplement, unless you're really eating some bad food. You've got that already on your plate. Why pop the pills unnecessary, which actually are not even cheap in the first place? I want to understand, what does your day look like? From the time you wake up to the time 8:30. I know you go to bed. You told me that already. But what does your day look like?
I'm up at between 4 and 5 a.m. every day.
Wow.
I love getting up and getting charged today. Raj and I traveled together, and the first time we traveled together, he heard my room. Thank gosh for the day I have. And he's like, what's going on? Because he's in I'm in my bedroom, he's in his bedroom. And then I do my incantation. Then I go into prayer, meditation. Then I work out for 10 to 15 minutes per day. And people say, what do you do in 10, 15 minutes? I push my body to the max. I may get on the treadmill and I may run a mile for as fast as I can. It's again, as I talked about, the controlled suffering that we can implement ourselves. And then I take an ice bath. And it's not so much for, everyone's doing the ice bath and the cold plunges right now. I've been doing it since 1996. And it gives me an opportunity. Just for 5 minutes, I have a bathtub, I turn the cold water on, I dump ice in it. It's really for my mental aspect. And then I'll chant while I'm in there, I am, because whatever I say after I am is permanent in my life. So I say, I am great. I am beautiful. I am powerful. Then I start my day and I start with reading, I journal, and then I see my clients. So I call it my hour of power, where I implement all about me. I say it's positive selfishness. And that's what we really need to think about, is being selfish for ourselves. So my morning routine is my baby. If I don't do it, I'm thrown off. And even when we flew here on the airplane, I said, I went to the bathroom. Roger's like, man, you were gone for like 10 minutes. It's because I was doing my incantation in the bathroom. When I knew the time was for me to actually get going, I had to do it.
And then how does the rest of your day look like? You said-
Sure, I may see anywhere from 7 to 9 clients per day. And some are in person, some are via Zoom or Google Meet. And a lot of them at nighttime are with the behavioral program that we implement. So during the day, I see physicality clients where we're working our physicality, working our nutrition, working our behavior. But it's at nighttime, because it's a lot of times in different countries, that I'm working on the behavioral aspect. And then I'm in bed by 8:30 and go to
so
sleep.
that you're wired up for getting up at 4.
But I love getting up in the morning.
Fantastic. What does your day look like, Raj?
Yeah. My day, the way my day starts is that when I wake up, I usually wake up before sunrise. Usually it's between 5 and 6 a.m. That's usually when I wake up. I made this a rule. It's very important for me because I know the type of person I am. I can be very anxious, right? Notifications, things like that. I do not look at my phone. I have a different alarm that's not on my phone, right? Just so I have a clock that just goes off real quick. Shut it off right away. I sit right on the edge of my bed and do my morning meditation, right? Just get a moment to feel grounded. I'm not looking at my phone at all, because that's when my day is gonna be terrible. Start my grounding meditation, go back to the heart center meditation, really feel that love, appreciation, and gratitude. I really want to fuel myself with that energy of how I want to set the tone of how I want to feel for the rest of the day. Once I do that, go to the bathroom, and then I go through my whole system of, I go through my yoga flow, and these aren't long. Within 20 minutes, I'm done with my yoga, my breath work, and my meditation to just set the tone. I'll walk my dog out, get some fresh air while the sun is rising. It's beautiful. Come back. Then I'll look at my email, check, see what's going on right now, what I need to get done, because I like to get things done in the morning before things get too crazy. I like to try to do the most hardest thing of my task right off the bat. And then I'll go through my day. I'm doing a lot of teaching. I teach a lot of classes throughout New Jersey, in different studios. We have a center in New Jersey as well. So I'm either teaching as our center or the other centers. And when I'm not doing that, we're teaching our clients, because a lot of our clients are all over the map, right? Whether it be Australia, Norway, Denmark, the United States. So the time zones are different, right? So understanding the right balance, talking to our team just to make sure how are things going, because we're all working with the same clients on different aspects. So we all want to make sure we're all on the same page with communication, so we understand what is going on with our client, because we're trying to support them 24/7, right? They have a way to communicate with us, so we're like in their back pocket. So understanding our boundaries as well as theirs, and being able to get them the best results with proper communication, and that's how I start my day.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that. We now coming to a fun segment. It's called Hot Seat Cold Truths. Yeah, it's a rapid fire session.
Cool.
So the questions are open. Both of you can answer. So just keep it
Sounds
as
great.
quick, whatever first thing comes to your head. One fitness trend that needs to die.
Giving up.
Waiting for you, Raj.
Overthinking.
One thing women should stop apologizing for in the gym.
Themselves.
Yeah, how they look.
A workout mistake even celebrities make.
Not getting enough sleep.
Slowing down.
Your most controversial fitness truth.
The lies we tell ourselves.
The heart is where everything starts.
One exercise everyone should master. No excuses.
Walking.
Breathing.
I like that. He's like breathwork. If you had to rename self-care, what would you call it?
Love.
That's my answer as well. That's the truth. That's the truth.
A breathwork hack that works in under 30 seconds.
Box breathing.
Yeah, the 4-7-8 breath.
That's my favorite. A fitness lie you once believed.
Just 10,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
If you had to write a book for women, what would you title it?
Love you.
Come back home to yourself.
Your favorite fitness or wellness brand right now? Give them a shout out.
Kylo.
One health habit you would force the entire world to adopt if you had the power.
Yeah, it's meditation, right? Coming back to your heart, coming back to your breath, and coming back to the present moment.
Breathwork.
A wellness rule you personally break proudly.
Me, sometimes I have a sweet tooth. So I would say that's what I break.
Ice cream, yes. I have a sweet tooth as well.
A celebrity you trained or worked with who surprised you.
50 Cent.
Thank you for the answers. It kind of brings me to my last segment. It's called the 1%. 99% of my podcast is all about women wellness, but men are a part of our lives too. So we've dedicated this 1% to them. So what is your 1% advice to the men in our lives? What can men do better to support women?
Listen, I think that's the most important thing. I think the communication is so important, and I think communication is listening as well. So for the men to really support the women, hear what's going on internally, and once they feel comfortable of speaking about it, then we can make the adjustments to support and grow together.
I can have one word with that. It's empathy. We really need to be more empathetic with the women we love, the women we care for, because those women provided us with life. We forget we were born from a woman. We need to give back, and we need to have empathy for them.
Fantastic. Thank you for the advice. Before we end the session, where can our listeners connect with you and get start their journey on this 12-week transformation program?
Yeah, they can follow us on Instagram. So raj.u.trivedi is how you can find me. You can find Jay at Jay Cardiello. And the 12-week Kylo transformation program is how you can really connect with us and work with us on a one-on-one level. So definitely check out Kylo Nutrition on Instagram, across all different platforms as well. Reach out, send us a DM that you're interested in doing the Kylo transformation program, and our team will reach out to you, and we'll see if you're a right fit for the program.
Fantastic. Any parting advice for our listeners?
Believe. You get one chance to go through your life. Live it to the best of your abilities. And I'm going to leave you with this quote. 5% of the people in this world make things happen. 15% of the people in this world watch things happen. And 80% of the people in this world don't know what the heck is going on. What percentage are you?
Wow, that was a powerful quote. Thank you so much. I learned a lot today. What I learned is I need to wear red, because it will give me, from all the things that you said, I think the red color just stuck with me. So thanks a lot for sharing your, a lot of information, especially a lot of talk on mindset, I think, which is very, very important, because every fitness trainer just talks about lifting weight, do your reps, but nobody tells you that work on your mindset first, because that's the key to everything. So thanks a lot.
Thank you for having us.
That's a wrap for today. Like I said, start wearing red. I think it's going to become your favorite color. And if you love this episode, please make sure to share it with another woman, because that's the way we empower one another. And you can reach Jay and Raj at the Kylo Transformation Program on their Instagram handles. And until next time, I'm Gayu Lewis. Menopause, why pause? Let's play.